So, welcome.
Absolutely. The studio is amazing, guys. It's Nathaniel with Freeweed again.
Thanks.
I'm in the studio with my wonderful new friend. We met at Hemp Stock. Why don't you introduce yourself for everybody?
Sure. Hey, I'm CREE CRAWFORD. I'm president and co-founder of Ionization Labs, and we've got a really cool little solution for potency testing called CannID. And yeah, we met Nathaniel at Hemp Stock 2019 out there in Dripping Springs, and we kind of hit it off, and we we have this similar passion for education in the hemp and cannabis space, and so we wanted to set up a time to sit down together. So
Absolutely.
thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. And we're gonna try to post a tour of everything pretty quick. Wanted to step back into the studio in probably a week or two as things are flushing out, but we just had one or two questions for you, so to let our viewers know what's going on. So when you're looking for stuff to test, let me rephrase that. When you're looking for cannabis products to test and you're trying to get them into your laboratory, what are the things you're looking for in the profiles? Like, is it just cannabinoids? Are you looking for terpenes? Like, what are you trying to find in your actual testing?
Sure. So when people are looking for quality control testing in general, they're going to want to know a couple of things. Now, the quality control testing is different than the safety testing.
Okay.
So quality control testing would be potency, terpene profile, probably solvents, to make sure that none of the solvents are still in your product.
Absolutely.
After you process, because they use solvents, of course, in extraction processing.
Absolutely.
So with those three, that's what we've concentrated on. A certification lab would look for also pesticides, mycotoxins, heavy metals, aflatoxins, and yeah, those are the top. So with us, what we're creating solutions for in-house, so it can supplement the amount of data that somebody's going to process in-house. So our solutions are at a grow or at an extraction facility, and it allows them to get immediate data. Now, we also work with certification labs as well, and that is the last step before you can sell a product. It's pretty standard operating procedure throughout every state. Some states still don't have testing requirements yet. But what we are is to allow them to get a snapshot of what they're doing during the production process. So if it's during a cultivation process, there's maybe a grower would want to know, hey, is this nutrient affecting my potency profile throughout the grow process?
Absolutely. Or is this fertilizer hurting my product, or am I adding too much light and it's causing this to happen?
Right, or if I'm looking for a specific cannabinoid that I really am trying to get the maximum out of, are some of my nutrients or lighting, the photon levels in the lighting strata, are those affecting the growth of certain cannabinoids that I'm trying to get out? So maybe you're really trying to get something with a lot of CBN or CBG. You're going to go through an experimentation process, but if you have to send a test out and it takes 2 weeks, you're going to miss a lot of the opportunity to collect that data that is viable to you.
Absolutely.
So we have created a solution that allows you to do it in-house. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You're trying to find the combination of the terpenes and the
profiles. Okay, so my next question, I guess a good follow-up would be, how important do you actually feel this testing is for product and quality assurance? Like, because it seems like you made it your personal mission to completely heavy it. So do you feel like it falls under like accountability and every company should be doing this?
I think that you could sell it or push it in a number of areas.
Okay.
I think if it's becoming a very competitive environment, and initially it wasn't. You know, if you were in it, you're in it. You know, you could get away with a lot.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, the cream is rising to the top. There's a lot more. There's a higher expectation. If this is an industry, you know, the food industry has very stringent, you know, testing procedures as well.
Okay.
But I look at it from two standpoints. Number one, it's an in-house tool. Knowing our industry, it's an in-house tool it's an in-house tool to give you data for maximizing your product production. It's also an insurance policy, like we were discussing before.
Yeah.
If you know, CBD and hemp right now, and cannabis, people are really looking for the differentiation, right?
Absolutely.
It's that 3% or less is hemp, 3% or more.
Yeah.
Cannabis, right? So if you're buying raw product to produce products, so you're buying biomass, flour, whatever.
Absolutely.
If you get that and and you've got a report from a third party and you get it, but maybe it's been sitting around for a while, you never know. The chemical profiles can move. So
Seasons change.
Seasons change, but if you get product and you can test your own product or the product that's coming in, you can really ensure that you're not buying product that's illegal.
Absolutely.
Right now. Or if they're saying if you're buying something for cannabis and you really want a high THC level, if somebody's and it's based on the percentage of THC is what a lot of pricing is.
Wow.
So if somebody comes in and says, oh yeah, this is 15%, and it's not, you'll know.
Wow.
And you can make a price point decision on that. So it's ensuring a price point.
So essentially it's
vital.
It's vital.
I would say it's an incredible tool that hasn't been out there before. And the other thing is we're laboratory grade.
Absolutely.
So
and that's invaluable as a resource.
Yeah. So we're excited to be here.
It's on the forefront. And I guess my third follow-up question, just to kind of wrap it up, where do you see it going in about 5 to 10 years with laboratory testing? Do you see it where we're specifically trying to cater towards certain people with certain profiles? You kind of touched on it earlier. So.
Yeah, I think that the testing at the end of the day is truly an aggregation of data gathering,
Okay.
right? So when you're testing and you're getting a chemical analysis done, there's a lot of things you can do with that data. It's applied data. So some people might want to use it for this, some people might want to use it for that. At the end of the day, one of the neat things that we can do as a company, because our product, our solution is highly scalable. When I say scalable, I mean it's inexpensive, so low barrier to entry to acquire it.
Okay.
It's very simple to operate, as I showed you in the lab. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of did a quick
No,
crossover.
what were the process? They've summed it down into about 17 minutes non-prep, so it's going to take a little bit longer for your prep, but 17 minutes is amazing.
And 14 cannabinoids, and the sample prep, the steps we've narrowed down to be very simple. We can
Yeah.
train somebody to use this in a few hours. So you've got cost-effective, simple, and it's accurate, so it's dependable. So those things allow for the scale. So if you can deploy these things to many locations and businesses, they become data nodes for
A much bigger
ecosystem if they choose to
Absolutely.
participate, which is really neat. And with that, when you're testing cannabinoids, which their profiles are different, so the plant that's grown in this hothouse somewhere, and then this plant that's grown in, say, outdoor in Oregon or maybe the Emerald Triangle,
Yeah.
could be the same strain, but it's going to have a different profile because of the environment that it's grown in.
Absolutely.
So what we try to do is we're going to try to get away from strain names and come up with something called a chemotype. And a chemotype could be defined as a certain chemical cannabinoid profile within a certain percentage point. So that's this. We'll call it a chemotype. Maybe we'll give it a letter, or excuse me, a number and a color and a shape. So red number 3 is this chemotype.
Absolutely.
And if you get enough of those data points, we can really have a profound positive impact on the industry for consistency, certification, and use.
Absolutely.
And then you can combine that with terpenes, which we're talking about. We have another device coming out.
So you're
in a few
creating a
months.
whole map and a network that people could rely off of.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like a structure that's been set up to where, hey, if I have this blood type or I may be predisposed to these things, you would actually be able to start taking those things into account. This helps with people for diabetes. This may, kind of make you a little paranoid or anxious if you're used to that. You can try a different strain. So it's actually able to break it down for people.
Yeah, into a number. And this also, because of the scalability and the simplicity of use, we could actually deploy these with patient questionnaires too, so people could actually bring in their own product that they're using for their therapy. Then you layer that patient use. So how effective is this that you're going to give us to test?
Super effective.
So that's what they say, super effective. And then you layer that and you get enough data points. So you've got the chemical profile, and then you've got patients saying, oh, I use it for this. Eventually, you start seeing some collaborative,
Absolutely.
data points.
A network of information there that you've established based off of real hand accounts and everybody's Canna ID.
Yeah, the profile. Yep, that's kind of medium range, long-term plan, but because of what we're doing, because of this platform, it allows us to scale, which is, the more data, the better off everybody is.
Absolutely, and I mean, you guys can easily get integrated into everything with that. That's really quite fascinating.
We're really passionate about what we do, and we feel really lucky to have the opportunity. It's been 3 years, and just to get to this point, but we're really lucky.
Awesome.
I'm glad to have a chance to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it again, and thanks for talking to the people. I know that we were reiterating some of the information we had touched on, but I needed these people to hear what you had to say.
No,